That's right. We're doing this again. Alright, hey everyone, and welcome back to the network, where today we're going to be taking a look at some more AliExpress console mods and accessories. Now, it's been a while since we've done one of these, and to be honest, I mean, really, it is kind of hard to find a lot of, like, quality-looking modding accessories from AliExpress. I think we really have covered them all at this point, but I did manage to find a few things we haven't covered, and one thing that I was very confused about as to why it even existed. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our first item. And that is... okay, so this is an Xbox 360 Slim opening tool, and what that does is makes it easier to break into a slim model of Xbox 360 in case you're modding it. I will have the price of all the items up on the screen so that you guys can know how much at least I paid for it at the time. I don't know if they've gone up or if they're still available, and that is the glories of AliExpress. But looking at our tool, you basically get a little spudger end, and then this side would get used to push in the tabs on the back of the 360. And this one, I guess this would be for the one that's under like the warranty sticker, because there's one under the warranty sticker. You know what? Let me actually go get a 360 Slim, and then we'll take a look at this.
A few moments later.
All right, so I have this scrap Xbox 360 here. I believe it's a Corona, so it is missing some of this, but you know, we can at least demo it. So this tool basically would give you access to a little button that is back behind here, it looks like. Yep, so there's a little hole right there. Basically, you can stick the tool in there, and that would help disengage that clip. And then as for this other side, if you stick it in there, you can disengage those clips. It doesn't look like this tool actually would help you in opening the rest of this. Oh, actually, maybe. Yeah, because there's a series of tabs around the perimeter here. I guess you can actually shove this tool down here to release the clip. So yeah, basically that's what this tool, or this piece of the tool, will let you do. I'm not going to go in depth with it here, but just so you know, we do have a video on taking apart an Xbox 360 Slim, and this tool can sub in for the screwdriver that was used in that. And then it looks like the other part you get is a security bit T18 Allen wrench. So this would be used for removing the X-clamp screws on the bottom of the motherboard. There's 8 black ones, while on a Slim there's only 4, I believe, but it would be removing those X-clamp screws, and then this side would be used for removing the case screws. So yeah, that is a little Xbox 360 opening tool. It's pretty useful. I mean, I would say if you're planning on modding or repairing an Xbox 360, you should definitely pick one of these up. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the next item. Okay, so next up we have this package here. I have no idea what's in here because there is not an ounce of English on there. So that is great. Let's go ahead and we'll just cut this one open. Okay, interesting. I've never had one of these bubble mailers literally fall apart like that on me, but okay. This thing appears to be a Xbox to HDMI cable. So, and you know, the original Xbox, it's over 23 years old at this point, and it is AV or component only. And what this thing's supposed to allow us to do is, you know, just go directly from Xbox to an HDMI cable, which is pretty neat. And it looks like this thing does require... oh, interesting. Okay, so this whole, I guess, converter thing is detachable. That's really weird. So yeah, you can literally just detach that. So I get, do they have multiple things? Maybe they have multiple things where you could go from like PS2 to HDMI, and then you just plug a new 3.5mm jack in there. That's weird. But we have power on this side, so that would be what this micro USB cable is. I guess there might not be enough power provided by the Xbox, so this would supply it. We'll test it with both. Then we have what looks like it's a slider for the resolution, which is 720p or 1080p. I don't know if you can actually tell this, but the HDMI cable, or like the port part, is actually like bent at like a 3-degree angle. I don't think it's supposed to be like that, but it very much is. Yeah, this thing feels extremely cheap. This part, I swear, it doesn't even weigh like maybe 10 grams. if even. You know what? Hold up. All right, we here at the network, we pride ourselves here on our scientific prowess. I don't know if you guys can see that. I might have to edit that in post, but we are zeroed out. This thing weighs exactly 10 grams. Oh my gosh, I literally called it. But with that being said, I think that's enough of a look at this thing, you know, with the unboxing. So let's go ahead. We'll head over to an Xbox and we'll test this thing out and see if it's any good. All right, so we have my Xbox set up here and a computer so that we can capture the gameplay. And we'll take our little HDMI device and we'll go ahead and we'll plug it into the system. Now, I am really thinking about this, and given the way that the cable looks here, I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be like composite out and then to HDMI with this little converter box, which if that's actually the case, this thing's gonna look like crap. But we can't knock it yet until we test it out. So let's go ahead and we'll plug this into our capture card and see if we get anything out just with the system like this, or if we in fact do need to have the standby power, which I'm not getting anything on my capture card for input. So we'll go ahead and we'll plug in our little adapter, our little power cable if I can. It's kind of a tight squeeze. There we go. Plug that in the other port of my PC and hopefully it doesn't blow it up. Oh, there we go. We do have footage now. This doesn't look too bad. It just said AV and then NTSC. So from the looks of that, this is probably just using AV in. An easy way to test to see if it has like support for the other modes is if we head into settings and then go down to our video section. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't look like this has component out, so that is unfortunate. I believe the adapter here is set to 720p mode. Let me see. It is outputting a 720p signal. It definitely has a softer image than it would if you're using component. So just to have like a side-by-side, I have this copy of Halo 2, and we'll go ahead and we'll pop that in this Xbox. We'll play for a little bit, and then I will put up a comparison from the original Xbox's like official AV pack, and so that you guys can get like a better side-by-side comparison. This really is not this is not the component out. This is AV. But I mean, it's not the worst. Like, everything's legible. It's just a little soft. So yeah, I guess if you wanted to, you could probably get, you know, this, and it wouldn't be the worst thing. But again, if you wanted like high quality, like the best footage you can get out of your console, you're gonna want like a pound to HDMI cable or the Pico ones, because those ones will tap into the progressive scan modes the Xbox has. This one is just AV to HDMI. Yeah, let me go ahead and clean this up and then we'll take a look at the next item. Okay, next up we have another large package. This one feels like it's in the bag and then in a box, so I think I should be safe to just do that along the side with my box cutter. And that hunch was right. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, we have a thank you card. Thank you. Your satisfaction is our unremitting pursuit. Receive requests to exclusive support and early bird offers and all that. And oh my gosh, the size of that font is minuscule. But we'll put that to the side. That's pretty cute. And then we have, okay, so this right here is a quick flex solder PCB sort of adapter for the Gamecube. So if you're doing the PicoBoot, you can solder your Pico to this and then attach it to your console. However, I did order this with a Pico, but it does not look like it came with a Pico. So that's kind of unfortunate. I know that they sold two versions. Maybe I just screwed up and got the one that didn't come with the, you know, the Pico included, because we all know we want to see how the AliExpress like $2 Raspberry Pi Pico clone performs. But luckily enough, I do have some normal Picos, like from like actual legitimate ones, so we can go ahead and we can still test this in the console. But looking at this, there is no like sticky attachment to this, but it is kind of like flexible, kind of like a twisty tie, it feels like. So we could go ahead and use that. And then it looks like it comes with the replacement thermal pads in case, I guess, you know, you rip them off when you're inside of your GameCube. And then there's this little square here, which I guess is for mounting the Pico to the GameCube GameCube frame. Yeah, basically, if you're unfamiliar, all this thing allows you to do is, instead of running wires from the Raspberry Pi Pico to the chips on the GameCube motherboard, you can just solder the Pico to this and then run this flex cable down, and looks like solder 6 points, and then you're good to go. Well, it looks like that's just about everything that came in this package. It's unfortunate that it did not come with a Pico included, but I guess we can still test to see if it's easy to install and if we will break the console in the process. So I guess let's move on to that. All right, I now have my Raspberry Pi Pico all set up with the PicoBoot UF2 file. So all we should need to do is install it or attach the Pico onto our flex cable, and then install the flex cable end piece right here into our GameCube. Now, I'm not going to do this as a step-by-step tutorial. If you guys would like to see that, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and then I can cover this step-by-step, but I'll just show like some highlights and a little montage of doing the install, and then I'll come back and then, give my assessment on the ease of installation for this cable. So, without any further ado, let's roll the montage. Alright, now we have our GameCube all hooked up and ready to go. We have a Carby plugged in for our video out. We got power. We have a Wavebird receiver because that is the controller that I'm going to be using today. Now, in order to make use of the PicoBoot, you actually need something for it to boot into. And in this case, the most common thing would be Swiss, which is basically like a front for all your other homebrew applications. It's essentially this Swiss Army knife of GameCube modding. And there's a couple ways that you can boot into that. Either you can use a serial port 2 to SD2 adapter, which I covered on a previous one of these, I believe. Pretty sure I did. 95% sure I did. Alternatively, you could also use a SD card to GameCube memory card adapter, which I'll be using here today. And I have my micro SD card all prepped with Swiss, so we'll go ahead and plug that in. Okay, and then we'll plug that into our GameCube. I don't believe the memory card slot matters, so we'll plug it into slot 2, and we'll go ahead and turn it on. And if everything goes according to plan, we should boot into Swiss here. Okay, we did not. Still nothing. Okay. Well, everything was connected properly, so it should boot us into our PicoBoot. Let me quickly double check that everything was set up correctly.
1 hour later.
So, after about, I don't know, maybe 20-30 minutes of testing, I decided to look at our little Pico chip here. And on the back, there was a pad right here. And I said, you know what's weird about that? Nothing was mentioned about these in the product listing at all. And you want to know why those pads are there? Because apparently they made this thing so that you could solder a switch to it so you could toggle whether or not it boots into Swiss. So I figured, you know what, let me just try bridging those points and see what happens. And of course, then it works. So if you get one of these things and you do all the wiring and it doesn't boot into Swiss, check to see if you have those little tabs there. You know, that would be why. That's why it's not working. So let me go ahead, get this thing back together, and then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, and now we are on to our final item. And when I saw this thing, I was just like, is this a real thing? Is this real? Like, is this real life here? And I ordered it, and it looks like it is. It is a Snoopy R4 card. I was like, what makes it Snoopy? Did they just print him on the box? And it looks like that is the case. That is actually really funny. DS Happy Box for DS, just like iTunes for iPhone, game, music, movie, free and easy download, management, purple upgrade. I have no idea what any of that just meant. That's not typical R4 stuff, but now I know that we covered the R4 card here on the channel before, and so you're kind of like, well, why are you doing another R4 card? Well, one, it's Snoopy, and that's really strange, but the other thing is the previous R4 card we used, it was a a smart update card. This one is a real-time save card. These ones are known to have time bombs on them. That was kind of the idea behind getting this version and covering it here, so we can take a look at it, you know, see what comes on it, because to the extent of my knowledge, this thing actually has games on the thing preloaded from factory. So, okay, well, first it's upside down. Oh my god. It literally has a little picture of Snoopy on there, and it is the R4 SDHC Snoopy real-time save card. That is funny. Okay, so it looks like we do have our micro SD card, 32 gigabytes, which is pretty impressive for something like this. You don't need 32 gigs on there. I think that's like the entirety of the DS library and more. So it comes with that, and then you have, you know, a cheapo micro SD to USB adapter, and this one at least appears to be straight. But let's go ahead and take a look at this thing inside of the DS and what comes on it. Alright, so I have my childhood DS Lite here, and then we have our Snoopy R4 card. It does say that it works on the 3DS, the DSi, the DSL, whatever the DSL is. Oh, I guess that would be this one. DS Lite, and then we have the normal DS. So let's go ahead and we'll plug our Snoopy R4 card in there and turn her on and see what we get. Oh, so it shows up as Touch Bomberland Nintendo. So that's interesting. Loading. Wrong date or firmware expired. Please check Nintendo DS machine date configuration. So right there, you can see that this does have a time bomb on it. So if you end up seeing a message like this or something similar on your system, you can actually remove this from your real-time save card and use it normally. We'll have a video on how to do that, you know, in the future. But as for right now, let's go ahead and we'll just reboot the DS, and then we'll check the date on the system. Okay, so as you can see, the date on my DS is 10/16/2039. That would be why. This card is rated for 2025, so if we put it on 2024, in theory it should work. We'll go ahead and we'll just hit confirm, save our date settings, and then exiting out, it'll want us to restart our system, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that real quick. But yeah, that is a problem with some of the R4 cards that you'll get, and if you want to test to see if your R4 card, you know, works or has a time bomb or not, just go ahead and change the date to something ridiculously far in the future past the date printed on the R4 card. If it gives you a message like that, you know you have a time bomb, and again, we'll have a video to remove it. It looks like that's still an issue. I guess let's send it back even farther and see if we can fix this. Okay, so I managed to get it up and running. In order to fix that, I had to set the date to 2020. So apparently from factory, this thing was set up with the wrong, I guess, time bomb format or file or whatever, where it wasn't even for 2025. It needed to be before 2024. So that is pretty crap, if you ask me. But let's see. So we have game, entertainment, and configuration. Let's go ahead and we'll see what's installed on here by default. File ID, file size. Oh, it's loading. You can barely see. Well, actually, you can see it better on the video than I can here on person, that we do have a loading bar down here. So that would explain why the games aren't loading. Also, it's kind of weird that Sonic is in the background of this. You would think it'd be Snoopy, because this is a Snoopy R4 card. But okay, so it looks like we got Donkey Kong Jungle Climber. I've never heard of that. We have Diddy Kong Racing Deluxe, Dig Dug, Digimon World, Dino Master, Dirt 2. Let's go ahead and try Metroid Prime Pinball and see if this works. Yeah, so it does look like the game does function. We'll play it for a little bit. We'll just give it, you know, the full test here. So it does seem to be working. Yeah, so that is the Snoopy R4 card, I guess. In conclusion, I would say that it comes with a lot of stuff on it that is questionable on if it should be on there or not. But in terms of like ease of use, it's terrible that you have to change the date past the one that's printed literally on the sticker in order to get this thing to work. I will be doing a video in the future of removing the time bomb on one of these and then installing Twilight menu, which is a way better interface than the Sonic menu that's on here. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and we'll head back to the table. We'll get the rest of the stuff out here and we'll give our final thoughts. All right, so in conclusion for this batch of items from AliExpress, what is the final verdict? Well, for the PicoBoot, it would have been nice if on the instructions they had for it, it told you that you needed to bridge that connector there or solder a switch, because quite frankly, that was a lot of wasted time for something that was super trivial. This R4 card, kind of a scam, not gonna lie. It says 2025, it should work if your thing is set to, you know, anything before 2026, really, but whatever kernel is flashed on here, it's not compatible with that, and I guess it's like a 2020 version. So this was kind of false advertisement. If you didn't know what was going on, this could potentially, you know, throw you aloof. So unfortunately, I have to rate this one pretty low. Again, if you want to see a video for removing the time bomb or that thing that prevented us from accessing the R4 card, go ahead, leave a comment down below, and we can cover that in a future video. As for the Xbox 360S opening tool, it's a tool. It worked just fine, does what it says on the tin. And then for the Xbox to HDMI adapter, I mean, to be fair, there's so many better alternatives for this out on the market already, because this just does composite, whereas component is the best image quality you can get out of an original Xbox. Most games ran at 480p, a lot of them did 720p, and there was a few that did 1080i, and to tap into those video modes on modern televisions looked pretty good. But this thing, not the best. If you just want something cheap to play your Xbox with, this is fine, but if you're looking for decent quality and something cheap, there are other alternatives that are probably like slightly more than this thing. So with that, if you enjoyed, remember to drop a like and make that subscribe button glow so that you don't miss any future content. And if you had a specific console mod or accessory that you wanted us to test, be sure to leave it down in the comments or link it to us on our official Discord server. Link down below in case you're interested in stopping by. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.